Hunter, Bobby just said he's focused on these 9 weeks, but obviously in the release you guys had yesterday, he's going to be a candidate. What do you want to see from him over the next 9 weeks that can maybe elevate himself as a candidate for the full-time role at the end of the year?
Yeah, I think just demonstrating just great leadership of this program, and I mean we're in a tough spot today. Like this first meeting is going to be really tough because there's a lot of guys in that room that are going to be disappointed with the change of Coach Pittman and the change on the defensive side of the ball. And so I just want to see dramatic improvement just in the effort of our team on both sides of the ball and how they execute. It's not about necessarily wins and losses at this point. It's not fair to evaluate him on that moving forward. Does that make sense? And I told him, like, I don't expect him to come in with some magic pixie dust and we're going to go 7-0 the rest of the way with the schedule that we have. But I want to see a team that is much more competitive than we were, especially on Saturday. I want to see that team Ole Miss is ranked 4th in the country this week. We're 3 weeks removed from having the ball on the 25-yard line with 2 minutes to go. They most likely were not going to stop us if we don't fumble that ball. Our season could look totally different if we push that ball in at that game. And so we got a good team in that locker room. We got to find that good team again and get them back out on the field when we head to Knoxville in 2 weeks.
You kind of touched on my next question. It seems like this kind of accelerated. Is that fair to say that, given where you guys were against Ole Miss, that maybe these 2 losses against Memphis and Notre Dame have just kind of really accelerated this?
Absolutely. Yeah, I did not see the performance that I saw Saturday coming, quite honestly. I thought we'd be really competitive in that game and that we'd come out with a lot of energy and a lot of passion and a lot of fight. And I don't think any of us saw that on that field on any aspect of the game.
Hunter, is there any thought to making an in-season change that it gets you maybe ahead of the curve in terms of being able to talk to potential candidates?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, you obviously get ahead of anybody that's going to make a change anytime later than you make a change. It's really sensitive because you're most likely going to be talking to coaches that have positions at other institutions, and some are going to want to talk to you or some are not going to want to talk to you during their season, and I have respect for both of that. And so you don't want to lose a candidate because they want to wait till the end of the season to have any dialogue, but you can definitely start vetting some people in advance of others.
Sam had a provision in his contract that said that he wouldn't have to mitigate after he turned 65 next year. Is that, as part of this restructure, does he have to go and try to find another job?
He does not. As part of our settlement and him coming down to the 62.5%, we removed that duty to mitigate, so he does not have that clause in his contract any longer.
Bobby, considering the fact that kids are going to be jumping in the portal or can jump in the portal, you've got coaches that are going to be looking for new jobs, or at least they're going to be putting out feelers. How hard will it be to get the staff and the players to just focus over these next few weeks and concentrate on games versus their future?
Well, that's the challenge, and like I said, that's what when I met with the coaches this morning, that's what I told them is how we handle the next 9 weeks is going to get you a job if you have to go find a job. And if you're sitting here and working hard on football and getting your players better and getting our schemes better, then your ability to get a job when this is over with, when the 9 weeks is over with, are greatly enhanced. If you're sitting here on your phone thinking about that job from 9 weeks from now, it totally hurts them. So I think we had a good discussion about it, and the feelings are good. But we got to go do it. We got to go focus and do it. And I like the leadership that we have on offense and defense and special teams. So I think we're all on the same page right now.
And for either one of y'all, Hunter, when you were talking about the advanced scouting that's going on right now, will the next coach bring in his own advanced scouting team, or is this something that you and Remy are kind of working on now? And would they possibly have a say in who the next coach could be?
I think it's really determined on the next coach, but I think it's really imperative moving forward that we have an advanced scouting department that's separate from your recruiting department, that's evaluating film across this country at all levels, and whether that falls within our front office or that falls within the football office, and there's some collaboration between the two. I think that is a must-have moving forward, and that's something that we will build into our financial model.
Coach, last year you're on the sideline up in the box to start the year. Now you're heading back down to the sideline. Is that going to give you any advantages offensively with changing things or just making it in general? How is that going to help you coach your offense?
Well, I've called a lot of games from on the sideline, and I missed being down there a little bit. I didn't know if it was the right decision to go up or go down, but I felt like going up in the box, I'd be able to focus and concentrate more on ahead, the next series, and looking ahead to what the next calls are. But I am used to being down on the field, and I missed being down there and seeing the players' eyes and seeing the intensity, maybe being able to change some of the intensity. So it'll be fun to be down on the sideline again.
Yeah, and then we talked about how some of the defensive players were posting on social media about their disappointment in letting Tebow go. How do you kind of expect them to rally around Chris Wilson over these next few weeks?
Yeah, I think we'll be able to get that done. I think initially there's feelings and emotions and reactions, which always happens in life. That's part of life. And then you got to settle down and say, okay, what's the best avenue for me going forward? And that's to have a positive attitude, get better, improve yourself. This week, improve in the weight room this week, improve on the practice field this week. We've got to do a great job, too, understanding that nobody in the room today, when we're in the team meeting room, lets their grades go down because of a situation like this. So our ability to have self-control and understand what my goals are, they're still sitting right out there for everybody, so we got to go grab them.
Bobby, you talked about possibly adding someone to the staff. Have you had any conversations so far with anybody about that? What do you want to have somebody come in and help you guys out? I know you said you want the right person. Is there a timeline on that?
Not necessarily a timeline. I think the thing is the fit, and what we're going to do position-wise, it'd either be somebody on the defensive line or linebacker spot that would be a great fit for us. And certainly I'll have a lot to do with that, but Chris will have something to do with it too. He needs to feel comfortable and have somebody that he feels will help him in the way he wants to coordinate it.
And Chris is specific. What's your relationship with Chris? I know he's had coordinator experience in the league, and just what's your experience with him, and what will his responsibilities be?
Yeah, my experience goes way back to having to battle against him. When he had all the great defensive linemen at Mississippi State, the Fletcher Cox and all those guys that we had to try to not sack our quarterback. So that's when I first started to know who he was and know about him. Very, very impressed with what he's done throughout his career. Guy's got a Super Bowl ring. He brings a lot of credibility into the room. I've been enjoyed watching him on the field in the camp and throughout the practices that we have. He's very intense, and he understands what you need to do to stop people. We'll be more disciplined, I think, and our guys will run full speed to the ball.
Will somebody essentially fill your spot on, another permanent staff member on offense too?
No, I still got, quarterback responsibilities I'll have, but I'm fortunate enough I have a young man that's been with me now for, I think, 4 years working with me with the quarterbacks, and sometimes, if I got to go to another room, he'll continue the meeting, does a great job, Miles Fishback, and we've been together for a long time now, and he knows how I think and how we want things done. And certainly the players in the room, the quarterbacks in the room, have a lot of confidence in him.
Hunter, will you go solo on the search for a period, or will you immediately get a committee or hire a firm, or what do you think?
Well, the only thing I know I'm going to do for sure is I'm soliciting from search firms to assist with that, with the long runway and the confidentiality that coaches will have. I mean, working through a search firm for that just makes a lot more sense than trying to do that on your own. And so we'll use a search firm, and then Chancellor Robinson and I will visit at some point in time in the very near future about what the committee looks like. I think for confidentiality, it's always a lot better to keep it tighter. And that's the way I've usually done searches and would prefer to do searches, but Chancellor Robinson and I will visit further about what that looks like moving forward.
Your message basically to fans, like, where are you headed with football?
We will get our football program back to a place that everyone across this state will be proud to say that they're an Arkansas Razorback.
I appreciate you.